other biggest concerns when you look at this Arkansas team? What are the other things that stand out? I know you said, like, Janelle obviously doesn't look at all like himself from FAU, Janelle Davis, who was given the ball and he just was gonna will his way into getting a basket. He looks like a shell of himself right now.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. I think it's, some of it is that Boogie Fland has kind of taken over that role. And, like, to his credit, Boogie Fland through 2 games has 34 points, 12 assists, and just a single turnover in 2 very competitive games that Arkansas has played. They were in a dogfight with Lipscomb for about 35 minutes the other night. My concern is that it's I don't know why I talked myself into this idea that John Calipari was going to do something different when we've been asking him to do something different like the last 6 seasons at Kentucky. And I was like, well, he's got this new job. He's going to be reinvigorated. He's going to do different things, even though he got rid of the guy that changed the offense that he had last season when they were so much fun to watch. And it's the same thing, right?
No, he didn't get rid of him. Rob, he didn't get rid of him. The guy left to go to Fresno.
Yeah, well, look, it's the same issues with ball screen defense that we've seen over and over and over again. There was like a 5-minute stretch in the second half where all Baylor did was run high ball screens with Jeremy Roach and Norchad and just put a shooter in the corner because Arkansas had no idea how to defend it. They had no idea how to break down the zone. Like, if I was going to pick rosters in terms of like which team had a more talented roster, like it's probably Arkansas, right? I think that's fair to say, but I don't understand why they do the things that they do. I don't understand why it's 2024. You just saw how much fun it was to let Reed Shepherd go out there and do his shit and let Rob Dillingham go out there and do what he does and be able to put together this really fun team. And Kenny, it just drives me insane. Like, you just watched how fun it was. You see what college basketball is in 2024, and you're still doing the same thing. It's like, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different outcome, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's 100% on that. And I think that part of what you're seeing here, when you look at the points that the Baylor player scored and the Arkansas player scored individually, you have 2 people that basically carried the entire load in Thiero and Fland for Arkansas. And then you have 6 people in double figures for Baylor. And this is one of the biggest games of the year for both of these teams. And so you figure that this is probably going to be the guys that they're going to, the strategy that they're going to have. And now I know that Arkansas didn't shoot the ball extremely well from 3, and some of those shots may fall later in the season. But it's difficult to win these big games when you're relying on 1 or 2 guys to really take the brunt of that load, unless you're talking about those 1%er guys, as they would like to call them.
Baylor's zone had them absolutely flummoxed. They had no idea how to operate against it. It felt like they couldn't figure out any way to kind of get the ball into the middle and get a good look from 3 until maybe early in the second half, right? And then Baylor started switching up their defenses and showing that zone look and going to a man-to-man. And it just I thought that it was really unimpressive how unprepared they were for what Baylor was going to do defensively. Like, it's not a surprise that Scott Drew rolls out this, like, it's like a hybrid 2-3, 1-1-3, like a weird zone that he rolls out there. And it's not a great defense. It just kind of gets you out of sorts if you're not expecting it. And in 2024, I don't know how you're not expecting Scott Drew to roll out that zone. Now, I thought Adu Thiero was unbelievable, right? Like, if he doesn't show up for this game, like, Arkansas gets beat by 25. And I think that what he was able to provide in terms of just a little bit of a boost of energy, I thought was a difference maker for Arkansas. But I have some real concerns about this Arkansas team. Some of it is what Jeff just mentioned, Kenny. Some of it is that, they don't really have anyone that they can play through. Like, there's a lot of guys on paper that are good one-on-one players, right? There's a lot of guys where you look at them and say, I can see the talent that this dude has. But I don't know if the pieces fit. And frankly, if Nelly Davis is going to be a guy that's like passive 2 for 9, I just don't think Arkansas has a chance to be what we expected them to be heading into this season.
Yeah, I mean, just going back to what you said about playing offense against a zone, a lot of teams will have 20 plus 30 plays against man defense, right? Against a zone, you might have 4 or 5. So it's much easier to prepare defensively as Baylor running that zone against a team that you have to figure out 4 or 5 of their plays. So I think that was a big thing. The other thing that you kind of brought up there as well is getting the ball in the middle, overloading a side, finding guys for open threes, finding guys in the dunker position, those different things. If you make Baylor have to communicate and pass off assignments and then also find a way to rebound the ball defensively, because that's one of the harder things to do in a zone is to rebound. I know that Baylor's big and long and they're good at that, but just forcing them to make those decisions in real time, you would see that kind of degrade over the game. And I don't think that they were able to do that consistently enough to mount the comeback. Even though the game ended up close, it didn't feel close for most of the game.